this solo, or at least we ought to know this solo. This famous St. Thomas solo by Sonny Rollins. Sonny Rollins is huge and amazing, but kind of the underdog of Coltrane. But still, everybody transcribes Sonny Rollins solos. Even Michael Brecker has transcribed some of the solos of Sonny Rollins. And this actually says it all. We can learn so much from Sonny Rollins. Let's look into some of the solo concepts that Sonny Rollins is using on this crazy amazing solo on St. Thomas. On the first 25 bars of the solo of Sonny Rollins, he uses this amazing rhythmical concept, only playing a couple of notes per bar. These notes, except a couple of long lines he's playing, are all chord tones. What I think we can learn of this is the simplicity of just playing a couple of chord tones. Learn the chord tones very, very well. They are the basics of all tunes. When practicing any tune, take a couple of chord tones and play them through the form over and over again till you really can hear the changes. What you learn by only playing 2 chord tones every bar is amazing rhythm like Sonny Rollins. I would start playing rubato through the form, not having any timing, but really listen to what I'm playing and where the chord tones are moving towards the next bar. Get your ears going on the song. And remember to add this amazing rhythmical concept Sonny Rollins has going. This is one of the reasons why we should transcribe Sonny Rollins solos. When you have gotten a good grasp on the chord tones and are able to hear the chord tones, start moving them towards playing in time. When playing in time, you do not need to increase the amount of tones you are playing. And keep playing the solo like this till you're really fluent in the language of the chords and the rhythm. So this question, why did Michael Brecker actually transcribe this piece of Sonny Rollins solo? Because this phrase is totally unique and basically sums up the whole playing of Sonny Rollins. And Michael Brecker definitely heard this. So what is it that's unique about this line? Well, Sonny Rollins plays chord tones the whole way, only chord tones. But the line sounds just as any other line with scales and arpeggios and everything. If you look closely, there are 2 tones that are not chord tones. The 2 tones that are not chord tones in this line are chromatic approach notes. The chromatic approach notes are super essential in the way Sonny Rollins is playing. But we'll get back to this in just a bit. So we got a little bit sidetracked on the tones of the line. Michael Brecker did note down this line because of the simplicity in the line, only using the chord notes. When the line is this simple and sounds this good, you have plenty of time to think about articulation and phrasing. And this is another one of Sonny Rollins' key features, his articulation and his phrasing. The articulation and the phrasing makes the rhythm so strong. And when you listen to Michael Brecker, he has exactly the same phrasing and the same articulation. And this is truly one of the things you should copy, borrow and steal from Sonny Rollins and Michael Brecker, their articulation and their phrasing. Another amazing thing you'll see in Sonny Rollins solos when you're checking these out is the displacement of the harmonic rhythm. In this line, the F sharp half diminished chord, the F sharp minor 7, is dragged so far into the B7 line. Maybe it doesn't look that spectacular, but the sound is so strong because Sonny Rollins is only using the chord tones. And the late change in the chords comes because Sonny Rollins is playing the D sharp very late in the B7 bar. The D sharp is the 3rd of the B7 and the most prominent leading tone into that E minor chord. So when you're training this, start making lines that move the heavy target notes into the middle of the bar or the end of the bar leading into the next bar on that dominant chord. When postponing the leading tones to a much later place in the bar, you get a very, very strong leading effect into that next chord. Much more epic things come out of this line. Because in the last bar, Sonny Rollins plays B flat minor 7 over that A7 chord. What Sonny Rollins is doing is substituting the A7 with an E flat 7. This is the tritone substituted dominant. And as you might know, before a dominant you can put a 2 minor chord. So you can put a B flat minor 7 before that E flat 7, getting a 2, 5, B flat minor 7, E flat 7. Then Sonny Rollins leaves out the E flat 7 and keeps the B flat minor 7. In this line I do exactly the same thing. I'm playing directly from the E minor chord into the B flat minor chord, not touching the A7 or the E flat 7, the dominant chords. Let's listen a little bit further. So we come to this part, again a great line of course. In this line Sonny Rollins again insinuates harmonic displacement. He's doing this by putting chromatic approach note to the F sharp in the bar and later hitting that D sharp, the strong approach note, to that E minor. The line is as simple as the first time, only using chord tones and but a couple of non-chord notes. And this leads directly into the next thing. Don't touch the root. In these two lines you'll see that Sonny Rollins only touches the root in the middle of an 8-note line. Making the root more sound like a passing tone than an actual target note. By not playing the roots or not playing the roots as target notes, Sonny Rollins gets a very light and open sound in his playing. When you touch down on the roots only in the middle of the lines, you get an elevated sound, which kind of floats above the chords. In just a bit I'll get into how to develop lines with no roots. I just want to check out this line first. The sheer length of this line is amazing. How Sonny Rollins just slides through the changes but nailing them all. And here it comes. There are no roots in this line or roots as the target notes. Only in the last two bars Sonny Rollins hits a D on the first beat. That's an E minor chord. And then the last tone is a D, meant as a target note D on the D chord. To get this sound, try composing lines where you are not using the root as the target note. Make other tones in the chords target notes. And this makes the lines much more elegant to listen to. To train the thinking of the rootless chords, try this exercise. I'm playing all the chords as 9 chords, but I'm playing only the upper structure from the third of the chord. For example, the D major, I play an F sharp minor 7 chord. Another great thing to put into your playing are the amazing trills of Sonny Rollins. Add these into your playing. I've tried my best to add the trills into this line. So when you're making the lines in the style of Sonny Rollins, make sure you get these beautiful trills in there. They are important. And this exercise will train the trills in the scale. You need the speed to move your fingers back and forth for the trills. This is extremely difficult to get very smooth. I have now mentioned a few exercises leading to mastering certain techniques. In the lesson manual on Patreon I have of course added all the licks, but also a lot of exercises that leads to getting all the techniques of Sonny Rollins into your playing. Get a head start playing his style and go to Patreon and find the manual. The link is in the description. This particular enclosure is amazing and one of my favorites. You really want to get these into your playing, but please train them in the scale first so you get them thoroughly into your fingers. Playing them up and down the scales helps you greatly to add these into your playing. I made this line to make the enclosure very clear, but maybe a little bit over the top and a little bit tasteless.
Dry and tasteless.
Sorry Ramsey, sorry about that, but you know what I mean. Remember that all the licks and all the exercises are in the lesson manual on Patreon and the link is in the description. The rhythm of Sonny Rollins is amazing and we should definitely all learn this. One bar I really like in this long phrase. Of course I like them all, but one bar I really like. On the D major chord, Sonny Rollins plays a G sharp. It just sounds really nice and outside, that sharp 11 going up to the 5th of the D major. You get this blues sound on the D major. Try it. Blues totally works on the major chords of a tune. Let's listen to a step further. In this line, Sonny Rollins introduces us to a few new concepts. There are 3 places in these lines where Sonny Rollins uses the chromatic passing tone to reach the target note of the line. The basic idea is to add a chromatic passing tone in the scale to get to your target note. So you're basically adding a half step before the target note you want to hit in the scale. The exercise to get into this is actually just playing all the chromatic passing tones in the scale going into the target notes you want to hit. The diatonic enclosure is definitely a great feature you want in your playing. And the great thing about the diatonic enclosure is that it's just a third in the scale surrounding the target note you want to go to. And of course, Sonny Rollins uses amazing triads in his solos. The simplicity of the triad fits totally into Sonny Rollins' playing. When playing with triads, as you see Sonny Rollins is doing in many of the bars in this solo, you play with clarity. A really popular triad pattern is this one. And of course, in the lesson manual on Patreon, I have added a lot of these triad exercises to get you flying on these. So going through the Sonny Rollins solo on St. Thomas with you made me realize that I really need to learn this solo by heart. I really want to set it into a couple of different keys and get it under my fingers that I know exactly what Sonny Rollins is playing. Playing it in a few keys to learn all the amazing things and get flexible. I hope you'll join me in this adventure. Play Sonny Rollins solos. As I've mentioned a couple of times, all the licks and all the exercises are in the lesson manual on Patreon. But I've also added the full transcription of the Sonny Rollins solo on St. Thomas for all instruments. When learning music, practicing is the most essential thing. Knowing how to practice properly is super important. Check out how the masters are practicing, featuring Michael Brecker, Chris Potter and John Coltrane. Play music, have fun.